Hi you guys, welcome back. So today we're going to go over the latest non-board meeting, which Tiffany thought was going to be a board meeting. So while this meeting was ended abruptly, there were some things that were said during this non-meeting that I wanted to go over and point out for you guys. So let's start from the beginning, where we can see Tiffany doing what she does best, and that is trolling the residents. So I'm going to play a little bit of the beginning of the meeting, and then I'm going to chime back in.
If you would, William, we're going to come and do this a little different. You're going to lead us in prayer, please.
So the reason I said Tiffany is trolling is because as we zoom in here to when she is handing the microphone over to William Moore, we can see she is smiling. She's smiling because she is thoroughly enjoying this moment and, dare I say, excited to see the results that this simple action will yield. Tiffany chooses to begin the meeting with prayer and then hands the mic over to someone who has been in the limelight on numerous occasions due to being pegged as one of Tiffany's cronies and someone who was also considered a hypocrite in his own right. Some names that have been given to him are William Don't Pray For Me No More Moore.
Brother Moore, you prayed us in on unity. You prayed us in and came with the most divisive speech I heard in my life. Don't pray for me no more.
And my personal favorite, the Vampire of Village Hall. Now, the first nickname, Don't Pray For Me No More Moore, was given to him because he would always do the prayers before the meetings in Dolton. And then he would go on to do some things that might not be considered so saintly, such as turning off the microphones when residents were trying to speak, and being overly devoted to Tiffany Henyard, almost on a cult-like level, by following her around and endorsing everything she does, good or bad.
Just want to say, when done all to stand therefore in the liberty wherewith God has set you free. Because true leaders don't make excuses, they make adjustments. It's unfortunate that some people see the world as they are, not as the world is. I appreciate the opportunity to serve under your leadership. It is an absolutely honor to work under your leadership. I believe there's more for you than there are against you. Yeah. And I believe these leaders here, we stand with you. And I encourage every person that's not here, that's watching this, send this young lady, send our mayor some words of encouragement. So, Mayor, I appreciate you with your vision, your leadership, and your passion, your compassion. We're going to have the vision, and the voice in the room is going to be louder than the voices outside. So thank you. God is for you, and he is for you. He's more than the whole world against you. Okay, so I thank you for the honor to serve with you, and we're going to get through this, God willing. With your passion and your compassion for the people, we work tirelessly. So I just appreciate you with the vision.
But as I've said before, Tiffany Henyard enjoys and thrives on a chaotic environment. It's like she experiences these chaotic meetings on the same level as someone would experience a relaxing spa session. She draws energy from these negative interactions between herself and anyone who opposes her. And you know what, you guys, it wasn't until I started covering this whole Dolton/Thornton drama situation that I began to realize that people like Tiffany Henyard, who are sociopaths and narcissists in my opinion, they really do get pure enjoyment from specializing in the art of getting under people's skin. All right, let's get back to this meeting and I'll chime back in.
All right, so just for the record, guys, that's so disrespectful. I don't care if you don't like someone. Please listen. Normally at meetings, y'all do know there are ordinances that say you cannot disrupt a meeting while we are in session. If you do not want to listen to anyone, hear, or view us, you guys can leave. So I promise you one thing, when I win next election, we're going to get all this under control, because this is too disrespectful and out of order as it relates to older people. Y'all are older people acting this way at a board meeting.
So some of the things she said in this as she's chastising the audience, because the audience, they know William Moore's deal, okay? They know what he stands for because of how he acts. They've seen it over and over again, and they see him follow Tiffany around like a little puppy dog. So they really weren't trying to hear his insincere prayer, because that's what it was. It was just basically him praying for his supreme and ultimate leader, Tiffany Henyard. So they were talking over the prayer, and Tiffany decided she wanted to chastise people and mentioned that some of them are older people and respect. And we know Tiffany Henyard is the last person on the planet to talk about respect, okay?
When I put you in your seat, Trustee House, Trustee Belcher, never would have been a trustee. I the one made it possible for you guys to sit where you are now. And all I want to do is help the people. That's it.
Because she's never had it as a trustee when dealing with the old mayor.
Just to clear some stuff up for residents. I don't know why the mayor always lying, but
I am not lying, Trustee Henyard.
Let me just get my statement out. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. I just want to make a statement.
And I don't take time to you saying that I'm lying.
The board does nothing with hire and fire.
The Board of Trustees shall be provided with resumes and any additional information compiled by the village for all applicants prior to their approval. The Board of Trustees shall approve or disapprove the termination after allowing the employee and mayor to submit written evidence no later than the second regular village board meeting after termination. If the Board of Trustees disapproves the termination, the employee shall be restored to the position from which he or she was removed.
So he always putting it off of, I didn't have control, I don't have that, and he has bad money management. That's another reason why the board did that action. The mayor cannot manage money.
And she doesn't have it to this day when referring to the old supervisor, Frank Zuccarelli, and his administration. She'll say things like, Frank was my mentor, things like that, but then in the same breath accuse the older administration of stealing.
A good friend of mine's passed today. A lot of people don't know how close me and Zuccarelli was, but we was really, really close. I am extremely sad to learn about the sudden passing of Thornton Township Supervisor Frank M. Zuccarelli. I am really for my community. They mad because they can't stop me. They mad because they can't compete with me. That's why they did the smear campaign. But don't worry, because every dog out their day. As my mentor and my dear friend, I had a personal connection with his inspiration and goodwill. But I'm going to point it out, and I'm going to let you know all the people behind all the mess and all the people that have been stealing at this township since day one. The best we can do to honor his memory is to continue to follow what he stood for. They don't want a woman in power. You ain't seen that yet. And someone so young. People working with people. But they mad because they not here no longer. So this is what it's all about, guys. They don't want a black person in power. He would truly be missed.
And tarnishing his name, basically saying that there was deficits when he was in office, something that Tiffany Henyard continues to say over and over again, which was debunked by the Lansing Journal by their awesome fact-checking of Tiffany Henyard. So this is what they said. All major funds in surplus as Henyard took over from Zuccarelli. So it says, for the past several months, Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard has repeated the claim that her administration faced a budget deficit when she took over from the late Supervisor Frank Zuccarelli, who died while in office on January 3rd, 2022.
We have to continue progress here in Thornton Township, which has a surplus, by the way, over $9 million. So I am so grateful to myself and to the board members that helped make that possible.
An examination of Thornton Township financial audit reports from that time shows this claim to be false. According to its financial report from the fiscal year March 1st, 2021 to February 28th, 2022, the township ended the year with an overall surplus, as well as surpluses in three major funds: the General Fund, the General Assistance Fund, and the Road and Bridge Fund.
And I'm just so happy to let people know the things that I'm doing in the township, which we have a surplus of it. That's something that the news don't talk about, and that's why they fake, because they tell one-sided narratives. So I want people to know that when I became your supervisor, y'all had a deficit. We turned the township, me and my team, my administration, turned the township into a surplus. And if you go and really pull the numbers, you will get the facts for yourself, but they don't talk about that.
So as we can see from these numbers of the Lansing Journal, the total net position from fiscal year 2021 to 2022 was $43,149,389. The General Fund was $2,212,473. General Assistance Fund $9,439,659, and then the Road and Bridge Fund $1,488,562. And the Lansing Journal notes that the report was audited and certified by John Kasperick Company, a certified public accounting firm in Calumet City, which has reviewed the town's financial statements since at least the 1990s, according to a source. So shout out to the Lansing Journal once again, and shout out to them for the amazing footage and the job they do on covering these meetings. I really appreciate it. Another thing Tiffany also mentions during this little speech of hers is that they're older people and the youth is watching.
Because understand this, the youth is watching. They do what they see. So if the older people are out of order, they're going to do the same thing. Can't expect the youth to follow. So I just want to point that out because y'all are so disrespectful.
Which she likes to refer to herself as one of the youth as well, or the Ute as she would like to say. But no, she is not the youth. She is an older person. And I think the sooner she realizes that, maybe she'll start acting like a grown-up. You know, that's very far-fetched, but one can dream, right? Let's continue.
All right, moving on to the next item.
If I could, I'd like to say a few words before we get started.
Okay, you can say some words, but let me start. Trustee.
I would like to say is...
Trustee. You don't have the floor.
We cannot, and we will not move backwards. We have not come this far to stop what we've got going on now. I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Yes! What y'all on? We is not adjourning no meeting. At the end of the day, we got to pay the insurance. What kind of mess are y'all on? So y'all do know y'all just cost people their jobs, their insurance. We have nothing. Why would y'all come to a board meeting and adjourn and we did not call the roll? Y'all done paid no bills.
We out.
No bills.
We out.
So as we can see, the trustees decided to go ahead and walk out and adjourn the meeting. So this is a prime example of what can happen when you have someone in a leadership role that has absolutely no idea what it takes to be a real leader. Being a leader is not within Tiffany Henyard, okay? It's something she would have to earnestly work at. She would have to take courses, classes, whatever, a lot of things. But I don't think she would, because she would have to admit that she is not a leader, which she does the very opposite all the time. We hear her saying, I ran to lead and I am your leader.
Half of the time, people in communities, they want to hear from their leader, their mayor. But it's a respect level. And we sit up here and disrespect one another because you only give what somebody is giving to you. My mother is not sitting on that dais. And it's not fair that she sits here and talk to us like we're kids. It's at the head, the leader. The leader dictates what goes on as it relates to her vision. I do not like dictatorship. When you ran on my ticket, you followed my vision, right? So now when we get the seat, which you have, and you're welcome,
a leader doesn't have to say those things, okay? People respect the leader and they give them the titles. As we see, she gives herself self-proclaimed titles like super mayor, like the people's trustee. When she was a trustee, she gave herself that. Okay, you know, if you're doing your job as a true leader and being there for the people and being that type of example where people actually do look up to you and they respect you in a genuine nature and not just through fear. Because, you know, it's been said that Tiffany and her goons, you know, run the township and run Dolton through fear. That's why some people who may not really want to vote for her will not come out and say it, because why? At the end of the day, they still have to live in that town. They still have to live in that village, and they have to deal with the police force and whatever goons she has lurking around whatever corner. So it's a real life situation for them. So it's easy for people to look from the outside and say, oh, they should do this, and why did they vote her in as this and that? She didn't get voted in as supervisor. I'm going to say that over and over again. For the newer people that are coming in, she was appointed to that seat because the old supervisor suddenly passed away, and they went through a couple of appointments, and she ended up getting basically the last straw at the last minute. Unfortunately, that happened, so that's where we're at today. But like I was saying, this is an example, and fortunately for future generations, this is a well-documented example of what can happen when you have people like Tiffany Henyard in leadership roles. And one can just hope that people will learn from this, okay? And they don't soon forget all the turmoil, controversies, negativity that Tiffany Henyard has caused both Dolton and Thornton Township since she has been in both leadership roles. But let's go ahead and get back to this board meeting, because after Tiffany does what she does best, which is sit there, grandstand, regurgitate the same rhetoric that she does all the time, some of her people get up and talk.
Y'all can get out. Y'all can get out. There's no meeting now. So let me say this. There's no quorum. They have us the board meeting. As you can see, the disrespect is ridiculous, guys. And Carmen, I sued Carmen and I sued Chris because they have not been coming to the board meeting. So I just want you guys to know, would you please be quiet? The board meeting's over with, so please get out. Do not walk up on me. Please do not walk up on me. No, you cannot, ma'am. So at the end of the day, guys, the board meeting has been canceled because we do not have a quorum. I'm gonna address you when they come. We're gonna clear the room, and then I'll address the people that I would like to address. It's bad, but yet they get on live and they go on the news and they lie to the people. So I just wanted to just get on this live real quick and tell y'all, stop hating on me. Today is day one of Tiffany Finally Speaks. Normally y'all really don't hear me engaging in mess. And I created a snow removal program for the seniors and the veterans. And I've been doing this since I've been mayor. And it's sad because y'all can't beat me. And as you can see, I've always won every single seat and counting. And that's what they mad about. They cannot beat someone that loves the people. You have to have a heart for people and be a public servant. You got people like myself that care about community that people try to stop. Throughout all the controversy, throughout all the drama, all the naysayers, all the haters. And I see some of y'all in the line. Let me flip the camera around so you can see them in the line. Whoop, there she go. Look, right there, right there. Whoop, that part. But they'll tell you that. Then they get in a little hate group. But you in my line getting food. The people and the corruption that's behind it all. Just to make a person look bad? Come on, stop it. So like I said, come educate yourself. Come learn what it is that Tiffany Henyard truly does. And see for yourself with your own two eyes what I have always been dishing out. Tiffany Henyard. And this is what it looks like when you pull up on your haters. Yeah, let me show you what I'm about to do. See this? Everyone needs help, just remember that. Watch how you treat people because you never know when you need the help, okay? But guess what? I am there for all my haters. It doesn't matter because I'm the mayor of all of Dolton. The good, the bad, the ugly, and even the hateful. You cannot be, a lot of people do a lot of lip boxing. My work speaks for itself. And that's why I want y'all to judge me on my work. Stay tuned, I got some videos coming out just to show you guys the update of what I've done over the years. But yet they get on live and they go on the news and they lie to the people. They didn't pay for your toys, nor did they pay for your food. It's now time to lay the mess to rest because y'all been going too long with this garbage. And I keep trying to show you, keep pointing it out, keep showing you the smear campaign that people are doing, the mess that's going on. But right now, we got no food in the food pantry because they won't pay bills. We got no insurance because guess what? They won't pay bills. They not showing up to board meetings. But yet y'all go and spin the story into something else. Y'all like to talk about people and attack people. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing because you can't keep up with me. Please stop with the lies. Chris and Carmen, y'all should resign today. Today.
Number 2, Andrew Holmes in his absence. Maybe he's in the back listening. The nerve of you to sit in the seat as a trustee here with the allegations. The people put you in the seat to serve as a trustee to the residents, not to the mayor.
Her assistant's name, Fania Dukes, and she worked for Tiffany Henyard for about 6 months. She claims that on a taxpayer-funded trip to Las Vegas in May of 2023, she was assaulted by trustee Andrew Holmes. Dukes filed this civil lawsuit accusing Holmes of assault and non-consensual dissemination of private images, and Tiffany Henyard of putting her on unpaid leave and later firing her to try and cover up the alleged incident.
In light of the allegations, I, as a resident of Dolton, former law enforcement officer and female, along with other Dolton residents, would like to see you display some integrity and step down pending the outcome of this investigation.
Kristen Carmen, y'all should resign today. Today.
And if I'm lying, all these people right here on the cameras, her, all these people, tell them I'm lying, man. Is that why you've never said anything? Is that why you disappeared as soon as this came out? Is that why? I'm supposed to be scared of you? Hell no. So tell me I'm lying, or tell them why.
So I just wanted to show y'all me and my 2 Live crew. We out here. What up, 2 Live crew? Hey! So you want to see what my 2 Live crew back there doing? 2 Live crew. Y'all gotta always have people that's committed to service, that rock with you, stand with you, and keep you hold you up and stand 10 toes down, baby.
I love working for you. Like, I loved you as a person. Like, I actually still love her as a person. I don't know who she is now, but I still love her. I really do.
You still love her?
Yes, I really looked up to her. I'm hurt. I would never, ever talk to her ever again. But the love is real, though. I really looked up to you since I was young.
But until it affects you, you won't understand my fight for the people. They not showing up to board meetings. But yet y'all go and spin the story into something else.
I was making almost $138,000 a year. That was my salary. Like, I'd never seen that. Like, I never had money from my check left over and it didn't have to go to something. So why on earth would I ever mess that up? Like, I even was talking to Jen. I said, I kind of much rather probably would have been rather on her side and fighting you than this being my narrative.
Because I never talked, right? I never spoke before, so you're going to hear from the horse's mouth, and I'm ready to tell my truth. Y'all sometimes try to distract people from what they do with all the nonsense. So that's why you don't see me really entertain a lot of it.
That's all she does is entertain the nonsense and the mess, okay? She is the entertaining hot mess of the whole situation. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed my little compilation of Tiffany Henyard's inconsistencies, double standards, and hypocrisies. And I did throw a little Fania Dukes footage in there because I wanted to show you guys that little comparison to when Fania Dukes was confronting Tiffany Henyard and Andrew Holmes, and when she mentioned, you know, you would never let anybody mess with us, not the 2 Live crew. And then Tiffany referring to her cronies as 2 Live crew. I just found that interesting because usually if people are completely lying and making things up, they don't have little nuggets of truth in there that show the person's character when they were around them. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense, you guys. I'm trying to word it. I'm trying to explain why I put those together, but I'm sure you guys know why. But let's go ahead and move on with this board meeting because Tiffany has one of her cronies, Keith Price, get up there and talk. Basically getting up there and not telling whole truths, okay, to the residents. Let's watch.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. To the residents that's in attendance and to the news outlets. I think it's important to realize that in the state of Illinois, when you have a 5-member board, you have to have 3 affirmative votes to pass anything. There's no reason for those trustees to leave this meeting. If it was something they didn't want to vote on, they could have simply said no, and they could have went to the next item.
False. Okay, so this is totally false. So what he's trying to say that if Trustee Chris and Trustee Carmen would have stayed and they wanted to vote no on things, then they could have easily just voted no on it and it would have either been in their favor or the vote would fail or the motion would not carry, which is a total lie. Because if Trustee Carmen and Chris say no to something and then we have Darlene Everett, who always says yes because, you know, she's in Tiffany's pocket under her thumb, she's going to say yes. Tiffany's going to say yes. And then there's one little minor detail, but it's very major. And this is a detail that Keith and Tiffany continuously omit when they're talking about the voting and they're saying, oh, the trustees can just vote whatever they want. They just need to show up to the meeting. No, they're leaving out the fact that if there's a tie vote, then the clerk can break the tie. So in my opinion, I feel the clerk will always vote for Tiffany Henyard in her favor. That's my opinion. That's what I see just from the way she interacts with Tiffany. I feel like she's more on Tiffany's side.
And y'all don't want to appoint somebody? You want to keep this township with chaos and gridlock? It's 5 board members for a reason. So if it's ever a tie, you can still produce.
So that's obviously the narrative that Tiffany and Keith and whatever crony gets up there to talk keeps pushing, is that the trustees are neglecting their duty and all they have to do is come and vote. And, you know, the main reason they don't want to vote and they don't want Tiffany to get the winning vote is because there's an empty trustee position. Okay. And if she gets that position, if she gets one of her cronies into that position, then it's game over. She owns the township for however long she's in that seat, because we know she's not getting another term. As much as she wants to convince herself, she's just not. Okay. But let's continue with this meeting, because there were more things said that weren't exactly full truths.
We had a lot of important things on this agenda. One was the bills. It's to pay the general fund, general assistance fund, and road and bridge fund. The other was to give you residents a property tax refund. Frank Zuccarelli did it in the past, and we're doing it now. It's the same concept. The difference is we're not picking and choosing who gets the refund. Everybody in Thornton Township gets a property tax refund, 100%.
So you guys, once again, this is another lie that Tiffany Henyard is saying, because when she first said this, and she still says it on multiple occasions after she first introduced it, is that the homeowners in Thornton Township will get 100% property tax refund.
I am giving away $2.2 million to all residents throughout Thornton Townships that are homeowners.
All right, you heard that from her own mouth, so, you know, don't shoot the messenger. She's the one that has constant diarrhea of the mouth, okay? And just can't stop herself from contradicting herself and, you know, showing the true hypocrisy that's underneath there. Now, I did a video on this, and I'll just pop the video up there on the screen. If you want to actually go back and watch that video, I broke it down as to how much each household would receive, the households that are homeowners, how many there are in Thornton Township, and how much this $2.2 million tax refund would actually boil down to, which was $53 per household. Okay, so now she's saying everyone in Thornton Township, everyone, okay, is gonna get that refund.
Everybody in Thornton Township gets a property tax refund, 100%.
So just imagine how much less that would be. Okay, I'm thinking like pennies. All right, I don't know, maybe $1 per person. It's just not worth it just to throw $2.2 million away like that when it's not going to really benefit anyone. So if this is true, what she's saying now, that everyone is going to partake of this $2.2 million, then it's really going to be nothing. So once again, she's either lying about it being everyone, or it's still going to be homeowners, which is only going to amount to about $53 per household. Let's continue.
And we're giving away $2.2 million because we got it. We got over $4 million surplus in that fund, but yet they do not want to give it to Thornton Township residents. Why? That's what you should be asking yourself instead of this show that they just put on.
So I want to say another reason that she might be trying to push this little tax refund to homeowners, which she's saying now is to everyone, but I really don't buy that, is that because this guy right here, DeMarcus Quigley, which is one of her cronies, owns a lot of property in Dolton and Thornton Township.
How y'all doing? My name is DeMarcus Quigley. I've been out here since 1997. I grew up here. I'm a contractor myself, own my own business. I got more than one house. And I work hard every day. This is what I'm saying.
And I discovered that information via Cafe of Knowledge. She is amazing. She just does deep dives, okay, on a lot of things. And she's just a wealth of knowledge, hence the name, okay? Go ahead and check her out, though. You guys, she's amazing. She is funny. Just thinking about her talking about Tiffany Henyard's suit in this meeting, what she's wearing, oh my goodness, she has me cracking up. But anyways, like I was saying, that's just something that kind of was just eating at me. Like, why does she keep pushing this? Who is really going to benefit from this little property tax refund, 100% that she's saying? I'm just saying it, and I'll let you guys draw your own conclusions about that. Let's move on.
Because they keep putting us in a predicament where we can be sued for different things. I get sued all the time. Y'all stop it. Like, we don't have insurance. You guys can't move buses and get the seniors. You can't do anything because we don't have insurance. So how do you do your job? So that means that employees have to get laid off, unfortunately.
So the Lansing Journal did make a notation during this meeting, like a little comment, stating it was unclear as to why employees would be getting laid off due to there being no insurance. So why would you lay employees off? First of all, it's not their fault that the township doesn't have insurance, okay? So that wouldn't even seem legal at all. But once again, look who we're dealing with, okay? I think she's just spewing out things, fear-mongering, just trying to get people in a frenzy like, oh my gosh, we don't have insurance, people are going to lose their jobs. And Keith Price even mentions that people's pensions are going to be affected. Like, it's just so much is going to happen because they don't have insurance. When it was mentioned a while ago that the township automatically renews their insurance, but Tiffany is just using this to hold over the trustees' heads so that she can get them in there and she can vote in the people she wants for trustee position. That's what it's looking like to me too. But there was one more thing, you guys, that I wanted to go over, and I'm going to play this clip and then I'm going to explain why what he said in this was not, once again, a complete truth.
Every time that forensic audit is on the agenda, they haven't been back to a meeting since then until tonight. Now, that forensic audit could have been stopped by Tiffany voting no when they took the vote. It would not have had 3 yeses. It was her vote that passed it. So, obviously she didn't care about having the forensic audit, but what are they running from?
So you guys, if you don't know, the forensic audit that he's talking about is one that they discussed and they approved in this meeting right here.
All right, next on the agenda is there a motion to conduct a forensic audit / investigation of Keith Freeman's credit card and Carmen Carlisle use of said card? Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second? Second. Is there a motion second? Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I want to say, unlike Supervisor Henyard, I am happy to talk about any investigation. I welcome any investigation about any expenditure in Thornton Township's finances. I have no problem with sitting down and talking to an investigator about any of the purchases I made on behalf of Thornton Township for Supervisor Henyard and the multiple trips I booked for her, the expensive the hotel suites, the first class flights, the expensive dinners, you know, the different amenities that she received that were provided to her on behalf of Thornton Township residents. And yes, as she stated, I was her assistant, so I was on many of those trips. I was told by her to make sure she had 2 trips booked a month, nothing under 3 or 4 days. And I think that anybody who wants to know, any investigator who asks any questions should have any information about any trip, including but not limited to the shirts, the paraphernalia and flyers, and the promotional items that have been paid for with her face and her image on it by Thornton Township, details about her transportation, the travel plans, information about her security that she demanded to go with her everywhere she went. I welcome any investigation into any expenditure involving Tiffany Henyard and Keith Freeman's credit card. And I'm sure that Keith Freeman will also be happy to answer any questions about this too, because again, we're open to being honest and transparent about anything that we've done for Thornton Township. And not to mention that Tiffany Henyard wasn't the only person that benefited, but you know, Mr. Woods was there and many other people was there at those trips, and I'd be happy to discuss any of this about to anybody. And again, I think since we're talking about it, Lori Lightfoot did such a great job in Dalton. I would welcome her to kind of do the same thing here at Thornton Township. So yes, I would like to have an investigation. I'll sit down and answer any question about any trip I booked on behalf of Supervisor Henyard as her assistant. Yes.
Now, of course, Tiffany Henyard was with the forensic audit because it was an audit that called for an investigation into the credit card usage of Keith Freeman, which was one of Tiffany's old assistants and who was in it thick with Tiffany Henyard until he flipped on her. And the other credit card usage audit was geared towards trustee Carmen Carlisle, who was also Team Tiffany for a long time until she flipped. So Tiffany being Tiffany, okay, she never wants her name on anything, so she can use that little scapegoat called plausible deniability and turn around and do things like this, such as calling for forensic audits. She's calling for the credit card usage to get investigated of individuals who were under her charge. As we know, she's always calling herself the leader. So as a leader, she should be held accountable for their actions as well. I mean, I don't know any place where you can work and you can be the manager, district manager, or CEO, whatever, and then people do things that are not above board, but then you're just like, nope, I didn't have anything to do with it. No. Yes, we went on that trip together. I stayed in the hotel. You know, I went to those events and everything, but it was all them. It was their idea. Yeah. So in that sense, they're the ones running the town, right? Yeah. No, I don't think she's going to get off that easy as she thinks. And if we look at this RFP that she put out for a company to come do that forensic audit, we see that the company has to report back to Tiffany Henyard. I found that really interesting because what? Because there was also an approved forensic audit for all departments within Thornton Township. So that should involve her, right? But if she gets the findings back first, she can do whatever she wants with them. All right, I'm just saying. She doesn't have a track record with being transparent with anything, all right? But you guys, besides this forensic audit being approved during the meeting, there was one big thing that happened with that meeting. It was never properly adjourned, okay? So that means everything that was voted on in that meeting and that passed or didn't pass is not legally binding. So just for my little bit of research on Google, as it pertains to a board meeting and it not being properly adjourned, this is what I found. No, a board meeting generally needs a proper adjournment to be considered valid and legally binding, particularly if there's unfinished business or if the meeting needs to be continued at a later date. So there you have it. That meeting technically shouldn't be valid, right? So I would encourage any auditing company that is going to try to go in there and do this audit, I would encourage them to go ahead and do a little research, okay, into these meetings, into these minutes, and to Tiffany Henyard as a whole. Believe me, there's plenty of videos out there where people have done their research to see if this is something they really want to get involved with. What if they go through and do the audit and something happens and now they're in legal trouble because of it? I'm just saying. What if? All right. Doesn't hurt to throw those what ifs out there. But you guys, that's going to be it for today. This video was way longer than I expected. And if you hung in there with me, please remember to hit that like button for me. If you're new here, subscribe.
You guys not doing y'all job as trustees, and every single time you come, you want to pick and choose who you pay. That's targeted. It got nothing to do with no deficit. It got nothing to do with we don't have the money, because we do. No, you don't. You don't control the meeting. You're not paying the bills. We're moving on. Why I gotta have all this controversy? Why I gotta have all this back and forth with my board? For what?